This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
I mean, for me, you know, I've always been a person to try to like make something happen. Like that's always been my mindset, if you will. And you know, throwing the ball away hasn't been something that I've done in the past really well, because I'm trying to make plays. And so, you know, just learning from that, you know, if it's not there, you know, it's okay to throw it away. It's the longevity of, you know, me just being able to be the quarterback for this team and, you know, not try to make a, you know, something out of, you know, nothing. You know, plays will come to us, and that's kind of what, you know, our mantra for our offense is.
Okay, so he answered it, and he, you know, I would have liked more context, and that's why I wanted to go to kind of like add the brutality of the question a little bit more. But he kind of gave Daniel the same answer he probably would have given me, and saying all the right things, but you got to do it, man. The next thing is do it. You know, the part that I don't think people realize about this young man, again, one, he's tough as hell, obviously. And if you listen to that press conference, you know, oh, were you concerned and all that? And he goes, no, that's my parents that are concerned. You know, he's the guy that wants to play last week. He's the guy that they have to keep away from the field last week. You know? But the problem is the rules, the optics, all of that kept him off the field. If not, Tua plays last week. Guaranteed he plays last week. He was ready to play last week. But the optics, you had you know, the news, everybody all over it. So the Dolphins had to do, you know, had to calm down through the optics of all of this. But this kid is not afraid of any of this stuff. How can you be afraid when you dislocated your hip and you had to go through the rehab and then you're back in it at the highest level? Think about that. You busted your hip up in college. You repaired it to go to the NFL. Let me explain that again. You busted your hip in college to then repair it to go to the NFL, to then go ahead and take a pounding. You obviously are not afraid of anything. You're not afraid of injury. And that part, you know, that's where he needs a little bit more humble. But what more humble do you get than blowing out your two ankles, and then you've got to then repair them with Kevlar wire? What more do you want when you blow out your hip, which puts your entire career at risk? You repair it, you come back, and then now you get, you know, severely concussed. Because I don't blame him for the broken ribs. I blame Jesse Davis because he's just mediocre. You know, I can't blame him for the thumb. I can't blame him for Milano being dirty. You know, those are things that are going to come with the territory. You know what I'm saying? But notice those things didn't knock him out of the game. You know what I mean? Well, the ribs did, but he was able to come back and play. Would have come back a little sooner if Flo allowed him. But my point is that you still were able to, you know, bounce back from all that. But the other stuff, those were long-term injuries. And that's what he's got to avoid. So he says all the right things, but look, it's you know what's obvious what's going on with Tua? Here's what's obvious what's going on with Tua and what people won't tell you. Okay? But here's what's going on with Tua. He's constantly trying to tell F you to the people that say he doesn't have an arm. He's constantly trying to say F you to the people that say he's too short. He's constantly trying to say F you to the people that say he's not durable enough. He's constantly trying to say F you to the people that say he doesn't work hard enough. He's constantly trying to say F you to the people that think he's not a good captain. Or he didn't want to be captain, which, you know how stupid you feel now when you found out Flo's system of, oh, you got to politic to be captain and stand up there and say why I should be captain, like some kind of, class president or something like that. Stupid shit. But he ends up carrying the burden. And so since he's got to carry the burden, and because it gets magnified for him, you can tell that this is what he's fighting. He's not just fighting NFL defenders. He's not just trying to figure out defensive backs. He's also trying to fight all the negativity of media and fans that are constantly telling him that he can't do something that he's convinced that he can do. And so he will try to hang on to a play. He will try to come back faster from an injury. He will try to complete a first down. He will run a guy over like he did was it last year when he put a shoulder into a guy? And then he's like, oh, I didn't realize what I was. And that's who he is, because that's the competitor in him. The competitor in him would have easily played last week. Easily. Shh. Don't tell nobody. Okay? Easily would have played last week. So that is what's going on. It's so obvious that here's a young man that's not just motivated to be great, but he's motivated to shut a lot of people up. And he fights that. And this is what happens. He gets in trouble because of this kind of stuff. He puts his body at risk. He puts himself in an injury type of situation because he refuses to give up. Give up on a play, give up on a series, give up on a game, give up on a teammate, give up on his coaches, give up. That's not his style.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.